So this Kendrick and Drake shit is just not going to stop, yo. It's just not going to stop. Now Drake is seemingly trying to make his way back into making music and just kind of trying to put this behind him, understandably so. That's about the best damage control the man could do. He just released a song with Benny the Butcher that was supposed to come out like years ago, but now finally released. Bro's rapping on that track. He is doing really well. I'll be unbiased about that. Like, that track is good. About as fast as the song got put on streaming, it got removed from streaming. Rumor has it that Benny got it removed because Drake had held on to the song for so long, but that's just a rumor. There's been several other leaks. No Face with Playboy Cardi just got leaked. He dropped that like 3-pack of songs like 2 weeks ago. And then there's just been leak after leak coming out, including one with Lil Yachty that got leaked a little bit ago on Kai Cenat's stream. And now all of a sudden it seems like the Mr. Apologist for Drake, Lil Yachty, is now potentially beefing with Drake. I don't freaking know. I don't freaking get it. But this whole time, Lil Yachty has relentlessly come out to defend and have the back of his buddy Drake. But now I don't know what's going on anymore. There was this unreleased track that got leaked on Kai Cenat's stream. According to Lil Yachty, he sent it to Kai to leak on the stream. And then apparently, allegedly, Drake took Yachty's verse off the song.
Now, there's some interesting shit going on here. I hear the Super Soak track is coming out, music video included. One caveat: there's no Lil Yachty on it, which that's a little confusing.
And so now people are like, oh no, there's beef going on between Yachty and Drake. And then it came out that Lil Yachty unfollowed Drake on Instagram, but then followed him back. So it's like all a kind of a bunch of speculation. And then not only that, but now there's a clip coming out of Lil Yachty calling Kendrick the GOAT during like a press run with Quality Control.
Jay-Z is the greatest rapper right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give it to Kendrick, man. That nigga, man.
I don't really think that matters so much to the storyline of all this, just because like at around the time I imagine that interview it was probably like Damn era of Kendrick. Like everyone was giving love to Kendrick, and when you just get put on the spot, who's the best rapper of all time, especially Yachty at that era, didn't really give a shit about hip hop. So he just kind of went with the most normie, easiest take, right? Like that's at least how I feel about that. Not only that, but he was also agreeing with Takeoff. His Takeoff said Kendrick first, and the Yachty's like, yeah, I'm with Kendrick. And I'm sure Lil Yachty would defend that kind of statement with like, well, yeah, I was talking about rappers. Drake's not just a rapper. He would say something like that, you know? So now I don't know where we're at with this whole situation. I think this is probably the worst spot Yachty could be in his career, is like basically the lapdog for Drake. Like he's there to defend every single thing that this man does, when it's like, what happens when you can't defend what, like, he doesn't know every aspect of Drake. He doesn't know every little thing. Who knows if something comes out that truly destroys Drake's credibility and career, and now we have to sit with the fact that Yachty's been defending the man for the past 2 years. It just seems kind of weird to me. Not to mention, Yachty has had like such an incredible last 2 years of his career. For the longest time, like since in 2016, Yachty was not a respected MC, you know? He was hardly in the conversation. He had just been on that XXL freshman list, which is now legendary, absolutely legendary. But at the time, it was a strong example of the descent from quality hip hop and bars. When the 2016 freshman cypher came out, it was not nearly as loved as it is nowadays. It was a big example of how we had fallen from a strong lyricism, bar for bar era of hip hop. But now, obviously, the tide's changed quite a bit, and I think Yachty's probably a big example of that. Pretty much everyone on that XXL freshman list was a great example of proving everyone wrong about what they were going to do for hip hop. He had his Lil Boat tape in 2016, and then he had Summer Songs, both these in 2016, and a lot of good stuff for him on there. And then we had his debut album, Teenage Emotions, which definitely, undoubtedly did not perform the way that he kind of hoped it would have. I think that's fair to say. And then Lil Boat 2 and Nothing to Prove kind of quality projects, a lot of good songs that I'll still go back to from time to time, and I definitely remember really enjoying these projects when they had come out. But by the time Lil Boat 3 came around in 2020, Lil Yachty was almost an afterthought at that point. Like, no one cared, to be honest. And then Michigan Boat Boys in 2021 was sort of like, it was sort of a sign of Yachty like changing up his style, changing up his approach. And with all the singles that had come out in between, it showed that Yachty was definitely not just satisfied with who he used to be, but he wanted to change up and prove people wrong. You know, he definitely had developed a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And that brings us to probably his best year in music so far, 2023, with stuff with the Let's Start Here. He had Poland, countless different singles. He started dropping stuff with Concrete Boys. From in the span of just a couple of years, Yachty was able to take his career from a guy that realistically would get left behind with the mumble era of hip hop that had been dying out to a real MC, a real guy that contributes to the culture. I think that Michigan Boy Boat project is probably the best thing that could have happened to his career, and it's obvious that Let's Start Here was a tremendous move for his credibility. Both of these things just kind of showed that Yachty was not okay with just being Lil Boat, you know, being just this meme. But then within those years, he had started to develop a pretty close relationship with Drake. Right after the Let's Start Here, he did that interview with Drake on the beach, you know, and that was really big for him and Drake. It was one of the first times in a long time we got to see Drake just in a comfortable, nice conversation with somebody that you could tell he truly messed with like a friend. It did so much for humanizing Drake and Lil Yachty at that. You could tell they truly were just friends, even if none of this music stuff even existed. And they started dropping stuff together, and mutually beneficial for both artists. But then the beef stuff began, and this is probably the worst thing that could have happened for Lil Yachty. Not only just his career, but his image and his relationship with Drake. He would go on his podcast and just immediately start having takes on the disses, like in the middle of the disses, talking about basically like giving Drake out after out after out and crapping on Kendrick.
Kendrick clearly had a lot more animosity, and you felt it in every song that he dropped. Because Drake dropped great records, but also, let's be fair, Drake was deemed a loser in this battle before it started.
Saying that Kendrick clearly had way more animosity in this beef, like he clearly cared way more, as if that's like something to take the credibility out of Kendrick's disses. And then he would go on to say that people had said that it was done for Drake from the start, when I think it was quite the opposite at the beginning. People didn't really have faith that Kendrick was going to drop, that he was going to be able to drop at the rate that Drake can drop. Because we all know that Drake is just a music machine. He can just pump out music. And Kendrick takes his time and is very meticulous with what he drops. But he did it. He definitely proved Drake wrong. From the AI Tupac taunting Kendrick to drop to Not Like Us, there was a massive shift in the public image and the public perception of this beef. But yet Yachty's take was still roughly the same, you know, that Drake was said to lose from the start and that he had no chance, and he didn't feel like either person won. He's like, I don't feel like Drake won. I don't feel like Drake lost. It's like just doing damage control for Drake. A lot of people were saying that Drake put Lil Yachty up to this. He's like, go on your podcast and defend my honor. Like, I don't know nothing. Maybe that's exactly what happened, but that would be nuts. That would just be insane. I don't think he's literally Drake's lapdog, like I said at the beginning of this video. And now I'm kind of confused on where everybody is at in this beef. Like, Lil Yachty went on Andrew Schultz Flagrant not too long ago, like a month ago, and every time they would try to bring up the beef, Yachty would just kind of have this prepared thing to say, where it's like, I'll play a clip of it. Like,
how hard was that beef for you? Like, I'm sure you're friends with everybody in Atlanta. You're
getting shouted out in the song.
Yeah, you're being pulled in different directions. You want to be loyal.
I just wish I had never spoke on it.
What did you originally say again?
He liked a hell of a tweet.
I really was an accident, but it was so funny. People were like, "Nah, don't try to come fucking what are we talking about right now? Like, I can't get my
What was
words
the tweet?
out.
Cheating on his wife
Yeah.
with white women.
Yeah. It was that tweet. And I really did accidentally like it. And then people was like, nah, nigga, he finna get you. And it was fucking hilarious. But I was in fucking Europe. So I felt kind of disconnected from it. But it was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the day, them niggas still richer than all us. So that's what I want people to realize. At the end of the day, like, both the niggas are still shitting on all us.
Yeah.
So
it was a great moment for hip hop.
Basically just saying like at the end of the day, they're both rich and it doesn't matter and they'll both be all right, and the public cares way more about this beef than either of the rappers do. And then he'll basically go on to say that like Drake is a goat and Kendrick's a goat and they both don't care and they both got way too much money to care. Basically just trying to tell everyone to move on, I think. And then they would ask him how Drake is like feeling about all this, and he kind of said like Drake just doesn't really give any thought into what's going on recently with the whole beef and everything. He's like, every time he's talked about it with Drake, he had to bring it up first, so he just stopped bringing it up because he felt like he was bringing negativity into Drake's circle. Basically coming off like a bit of a yes man, to be fair. But I think he was just trying to say that like he was just trying to express as much as he could that Drake does not give a single thought towards all this. And I know I've seen that on Instagram that like Drake has been reportedly as happy as he's ever been ever since this beef, and it doesn't track to me. It feels like damage control having somebody come out and be like, Drake is good, he's fine, he don't care. The whole situation just kind of rings a little weird right now, like around how Drake is taking this. And obviously Kendrick's on top of the world. He had the whole Not Like Us concert, played it 6 times at the Amazon concert. And we got Lil Yachty and Drake just kind of like, I don't know, left to do damage control and pick up the pieces of their career. I personally don't think that this is like the end for Lil Yachty, but this is totally a public perception blow. It's good that he's just continued to drop music at an incredibly consistent rate, but he really just needs to shut up about the whole situation. Obviously, I get going on like Flagrant, he doesn't really have a choice. He kind of has to talk about it on Flagrant. It's not like he can just be like, I don't want to talk about that, because that would just create even more buzz. And then this whole idea that he got taken off of this Drake track and unfollow each other, but then follow each other back. It's like, I don't know if this is anything. I feel like just an example of the public caring way more than they do. I wonder if Drake wasn't happy with what Lil Yachty said on Flagrant about this whole situation. Really, honestly, to just kind of a weird situation built up around this whole beef. Maybe just the public making a mountain out of a molehill, but let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. I think that Yachty would have been so much better off not being so involved in this beef. But hey, let me know what y'all think. I fucking love every single one of y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.
You know, Mark, I think you're beginning to grow.
Well, sir, I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be. So I'll catch you on the rebound, your magnitude. Until next week, Nanu, Nanu.